Chapter 241, Was a good strike. Biming remembered the slap he received after stealing a kiss. He felt a lingering fear and carefully bent down. Crack. Rumble. A purple lightning bolt fell from the sky and punched a big hole in the roof. Then, one purple lightning bolt after another drilled into the hole and went straight for Yun Chujio, who was on the bed. Yun Chujio kicked Biming off the bed. I'm about to advance. Stay away from me. Don't hurt yourself. The miserable emperor was kicked off the bed once again. He hated those purple lightning bolts to death in his heart. Why did you have to come when I was about to kiss the black thing? Damn it. That was the first time Biming saw Yun Chujio absorb the power of lightning. He immediately felt that his worldview had been refreshed. Yun Chujio allowed the purple lightning to strike her body, but she still continued to provoke it. If you want to strike me, hurry up. I'm so sleepy. I'm still waiting to sleep. Did you guys not eat? You don't even have the strength to strike. By the way, what do you heavenly lightning usually eat? Oh right, I've always wanted to ask, what's the relationship between the purple lightning and the white one? Are you purple lightning bastards? The thick black cloud in the sky was so angry that it was about to burst into tears. It was too insulting to the lightning. It was too insulting to the clouds. You're the fucking bastard. They were a part of the righteous red lightning. Kill her. Kill this scourge. Kill this weirdo. Boom. 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 The higher-ups of Spirit Radiance sect were all shocked. Although there would occasionally be a few purple lightning bolts, in the past half a year, the purple heavenly lightning bolts seemed to be descending a little more frequently. Just what was going on? This time, it seemed to be even denser than the previous ones. From the looks of it, it seemed to be heading toward the Middle Peak's kitchen. Master Xianyuan and the other peak masters suddenly thought of Yun Chujio. Although they felt that it was a little ridiculous, for some reason, they felt that these heavenly purple lightning bolts were somehow related to Yun Chujio. However, even if these mighty figures had extremely high spiritual power, they were unwilling to get into the bad luck of involving themselves with the heavenly purple lightning bolts. Although they were curious, they were all prepared to go over and take a look after it had ended. Little Black flapped its short wings and flew in from the hole in the roof. Master, you've almost absorbed it. Give me a few bolts of lightning. Yun Chujio said with a smile, these lightning likes to be scolded. If you scold them a little more, they will strike you. Master, I'm the best at that. Watch carefully. Little Black held his waist with one wing and pointed at the sky with the other. Hey! Little loaches, if you have the guts, come and strike me. I look down on those who fight in groups. What the hell? You're ugly and purple. Look at how perfect my skin color is. The thick, black clouds was so angry that a storm started. Boo-hoo. You're bullying the clouds too much. You're bullying the lightning too much. Where did these two weirdos come from? How can the heavens allow these two heaven-defying things to exist? It wanted to report them. These two scourges must be eliminated. The thick, dark clouds felt that its confidence had been dealt a blow, so it began venting its anger on Yun Chujio's house. If I can't kill you two scourges, it'll destroy your nest. The poor Supreme Emperor was originally just watching the show, but who would have thought that the thick, dark clouds would change its target just because of a disagreement? One after another, heavenly purple lightning began to strike the house densely. Biming dodged left and right in a sorry state. Fortunately, his spiritual power was superb, and he had a defensive spiritual artifact on him. Although he was in a sorry state, he was still not injured. Yun Chujio watched from the side, feeling refreshed. Good strike. Wonderful strike. The gigolo was screaming. Chapter 242, started flirting. The dark cloud struck Yun Chujio's house, and then floated away while trembling. Why was it trembling? It was angry. Yun Chuzhou and that ugly bird, just you wait. Next time, it'll definitely hack you to death. Yun Chuzhou saw Di Baiming's miserable appearance and laughed in her heart, but she did not dare to show it. She asked weakly, Prince Charming, this house is no longer livable. I'm going to go to my fifth sister's place. What about you? Di Baiming waved his sleeves, and his body immediately returned to normal, even his hair became as dry as usual. Yun Chuzhou was so jealous that she gritted her teeth. There really was no justice in the world. It was one thing for him to be good-looking, but he was also a nouveau riche. On top of that, his spiritual power was so high. It really made people envious and jealous. The commotion here has already attracted the attention of the mighty figures of Spirit Radiance sect. I'll be leaving now. The matter will be settled very soon. I'll come back to see you when the time comes. Remember, if you run into that idiot in red, you must stay away from him. Di Baiming noticed that there were people approaching from afar, so he quickly said his piece. Okay. Prince Charming, don't worry. I'll definitely be obedient. You should leave quickly. Don't let anyone discover you. Yun Chuzhou could not wait for Di Baiming to leave quickly. Di Baiming still wanted to say something, but those people were getting closer and closer. He could only hug Yun Chuzhou, kiss her on the forehead, and then leave quickly. Yun Chuzhou did not expect Di Baiming to flirt with her so suddenly. She was instantly petrified. Fuck, aren't you ashamed? Gigolo, get back here. Did I agree to you kissing me? You big-tailed wolf. You actually took advantage of me. By the way, why is my heart beating so fast? Calm down. You have to be calm. Isn't it just a kiss on the forehead? What's the big deal? It wasn't a kiss on the mouth. When Master Xianyuan and the others arrived at Yun Chuzhi's courtyard, they saw that the house was in such a sorry state that it looked like a beehive with many holes on it. Yun Chuzhi stood there like a fool, and she even giggled shyly from time to time. It's over. Yun Chuzhi, this girl, has been struck dumb by lightning. Elder Chu stretched out his hand and waved it in front of Yun Chuzhi a few times. Yun Chuzhi seemed as though she did not see him and was still in a daze. Sigh. With such a dense amount of heavenly lightning, it's already a blessing to be able to survive. Peak Master Yu sighed. He did not expect that the originally lively Yun Chuzhi would actually be struck by lightning to such a state. How pitiful. Yun Chuzhi and the others also ran over. When Yun Chu saw Yun Chuzhi's stunned look, she immediately cried, Little Jiu. Little Jiu, what happened to you? Don't scare me. Yun Chuzhi actually knew about Master Xianyuan and the others a long time ago. However, in order not to expose the fact that she had absorbed the power of lightning, she simply pretended to be scared. Now that she realized that Yun Chu and the others were scared, she pretended to suddenly snap back to reality and then burst into tears. Fifth sister. Sob sob, I'm scared to death. I was almost struck by lightning. I didn't do anything bad, so how could I be struck by lightning? Sob sob, I was really wronged. Yun Chu and the others quickly hugged Yun Chuzhi and comforted her. Yun Chuzhi sobbed and complained, sob sob, I was sleeping well when the roof was suddenly struck by lightning. Fortunately, I ran fast, or else I would have been turned into a roasted chicken. Little girl, don't cry. You've escaped the lightning strikes over and over again, which means that you are a person with good fortune. As the saying goes, if you don't die in a great disaster, you'll definitely have good fortune in the future, Elder Chu babbled and comforted her. When Master Xianyuan heard Elder Chu's words, he could not help but feel uneasy. Yun Chuzhi had been struck by lightning over and over again. According to legends, besides the 5 elements root spirit, there was also a type of thunder root spirit. Since she was so favored by the heavenly lightning, could it be because of the legendary thunder root spirit? Chapter 243, Could it be the Thunder Root Spirit? Yun Chujio, you'll stay in another dormitory for the night. Tomorrow, the servants will come to repair the house. In addition, come to the meeting hall tomorrow morning. Although Master Xianyuan had some guesses in his heart, his expression remained the same. Yun Chujio thought that Master Xianyuan wanted to give her some consolation money after seeing that she was frightened, so she immediately agreed. After Master Xianyuan and the others left, Yun Chujio went to stay with Yun Chu for the night. Since she misses Master Xuanyuan's consolation money, Yun Chujio woke up early the next morning and went to the meeting hall. Yun Chujio entered the meeting hall and saw that there were many elders besides Master Xianyuan and the 5 peak masters. She was puzzled. Why are there so many people? Is there a need to make such a big fuss for a consolation payment? After Yun Chujio paid her respects, she asked with a smile, Master, do you think I was frightened last night and couldn't bear it, so you are prepared to give me some consolation payments? Everyone was almost angered by Yun Chujio's words. How narcissistic was she? What did being struck by lightning have to do with the sect? They were even expected to give her consolation money. It was already really good that they did not make her pay to repair the house. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. Let's put the consolation money aside for now. I've called you here today because I suspect that you have a rare thunder root spirit and am preparing to test your root spirit again. Yun Chujio was shocked. Had she been discovered? That was probably not the case. However, this was also positive. She could find a catalyst and reveal a bit of what she could cultivate. At least she could use her storage bag and spirit beast bag openly. Yun Chujio pretended to be extremely excited. Master Xianyuan, why you mean, I can cultivate? I am not trash. This is my suspicion. Don't be too excited for now. You can celebrate happy after the test results are out. Master Xianyuan was worried that Yun Chujio would not be able to bear the blow when the test results were out. Then let's test it. Hurry up, I already said that I won't be useless. I'm the personal disciple chosen by Patriarch Linghua. How can I be useless? Sigh, it really fulfills the old saying that the heavens will bestow a great responsibility on a man. He must first work hard on his will and work hard on his bones. Yun Chujio began to gloat with her small hands behind her back. Master Xianyuan rubbed his forehead. If the test results really showed the thunder root spirit, would this not mean Yun Chujio could gloat to the heavens? Usually, the test for a root spirit was done with a type of spiritual pillar. After a person placed their palm on it, they would judge the root spirit's attribute and talent level by its color and the level of the spirit cell. However, this type of spiritual pillar could not detect the thunder root spirit. Master Xianyuan took out a transparent ball from his storage ring and placed it on the table. Yun Chujio, place your palm on it. If you have the thunder root spirit, there will be silver sparks inside, Master Xianyuan said to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio curiously placed her palm on it. There was no reaction from the spirit energy ball. The crowd began to discuss animatedly. Elder Shao said, Master, this thunder root spirit is extremely rare. I think Yun Chujio must have been happy for nothing. Elder Shao's words make sense. The last thunder root spirit in Qingxian continent was 100 years ago. It's extremely rare and not that easy to come across, an elder echoed. That's right, this thunder root spirit isn't like cabbages. We can't conclude that Yun Chujio has it just because she was almost struck by lightning a few times. There are many people who have been struck by lightning. Before this elder could finish his words, the spiritual energy ball started to change. The tranquility in the spiritual energy ball was broken. It was filled with small purple lightning bolts, crackling non-stop. Chapter 244, Born to be Useful. Master Xianyuan and the others were dumbfounded. What was going on? If it was the thunder root spirit, it would normally be a silver spark. Why did Yun Chuzhou have a purple lightning bolts? Yun Chuzhou was entranced by it and giggled. This thing is quite fun. Master Shenyuan, please give this ball to me. It can be used as a candle at night to save money. Master Shenyuan coughed dryly. This is the sect's most important treasure. How can I just give it to you? Master Shenyuan quickly put away the test ball in consideration of Yun Chujia's bad habit of taking things. Master Shenyuan, am I really a thunder root spirit? Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. How stingy of him. This, Master Shenyuan could not figure it out. If he said yes, Yun Chujia's situation seemed to be different from other people's. Even if he said no, the test ball obviously had a reaction. Elder Chu reacted the quickest. He said, Yun Chuzhou, sit cross-legged and see if you can absorb the purple lightning element. Yun Chuzhou thought, of course I can. Your little ancestor Yun has a sea of purple elements in my dantian. If I told you about it, you'll be scared to death. Yun Chuzhou pretended to sit cross-legged. After a while, she pretended to be surprised and said, the purple elements has actually entered my body. Does this mean I can cultivate in the future? Master Shenyuan nodded. Since she could absorb thunder elements, it meant that Yun Chuzhou was indeed a thunder root spirit. As for why she was different from others, he could only slowly investigate. That's great. I told you that I was born to be useful. It turns out I have a rare thunder root spirit. My master has a sharp eye. Otherwise, why would he take me as his disciple? Sect Master, I'll definitely take care of Spirit Radiance sect in the future. I will hack whoever comes to cause trouble for us to death. Come one person, hack one person. Come a pair, hack a pair. Let's see who dares to bully our Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chuzhou straightened her small body and began to talk incessantly, showing off. At the beginning, everyone was happy for her. After hearing the end, the corners of their mouths twitched. They really could not bear to listen anymore. This Yun Chuzhou was shining really brightly just because she had a little ray of sunlight on her. She was too cocky. Even if she has the thunder root spirit, it's hard for her to have any achievements. After all, Spirit Radiance sect isn't located in an area with frequent lightning strikes, and there are too few lightning elements. This path of leveling up is even more difficult. Elder Shao was the first to pour cold water on Yun Chuzhou. That's right. Our sect had a few thunder root spirits in the past. Although the methods of this lightning strike were indeed amazing, they all became ordinary in the end. They couldn't even reach the level of a spirit emperor. That's right. This thunder root spirit is famous, but in reality, it's not as good as other root spirits paired with good talent. Yun Chuzhou secretly curled her lips. HMH, you're talking about an ordinary person. She had the strange grass in her dantian. With this divine weapon, it would be too easy for her to level up, right? Master Shenyuan, do you have any thunder root spirit cultivation techniques? Give me a few copies. Yun Chuzhou said with a grin. Master Shenyuan glared at her. Thunder root spirit cultivation technique is very rare. Our Spirit Radiance sect only has one copy of the Heavenly Thunder technique. It's stored on the 7th floor of the library. Why don't you make a copy of it? Yun Chuzhou thought to herself, Heavenly Thunder technique? The name sounded very corny. It was definitely not as good as the cultivation technique that the gigolo gave her. However, it was not bad to use as a cover. Yun Chuzhou, you can leave now. Go back and cultivate properly. We still have things to discuss. Master Shenyuan saw that Yun Chuzhou did not have anything else to say, so he waved his hand, indicating that she could leave. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes and said pitifully, Master Shenyuan, where is the compensation? Chapter 245, Heavenly Thunder Root Spirit. Everyone had fully understood one sentence from Yun Chuzhou, that she was more shameless than the most shameless person. Who agreed with you? Who agreed to give you the consolation money? Did you not feel guilty saying that yourself? Master Xuanyuan's face darkened slightly. Yun Chuzhou, when did I agree to give you the consolation money? Yun Chuzhou said with a twitch, didn't you say to put aside the matter of the consolation money for now? Didn't you mean to put it aside for later? Did I misunderstand? Forget it, if you don't want to give it, then so be it. Anyway, you have a bigger say in this than I do, so I couldn't possibly argue. Master, you've ascended and are enjoying your life, leaving me, your poor disciple, alone. How pitiful. Not only was I struck by lightning, I'm so poor that I can't even afford to buy a bed. Master Xianyuan was so angry that his face contorted. This Yun Chuzhou. What a little scoundrel. How was she crying for her master? She was clearly using Patriarch Linghua to pressure me. The corners of the other people's eyes twitched. In another 2 months or so, it would be time for the new disciple trial. If this person really managed to get into the top 10, would she not be courting death? Master Xianyuan rubbed his forehead. Don't cry. Get someone to follow you to the storeroom and collect 1,000 low-grade spirit stones. It'll be considered as the sect's consolation money. Yun Chuzhou was still sobbing when the downpour suddenly turned cleared. She said with a smile, Master Xianyuan is too kind. Since you're so generous, then I'll thicken my skin and accept it. I'm really sorry. Everyone was so angry that they snorted. How could you be embarrassed? We've lived for hundreds of years, and this is the first time we've seen such a shameless person. Yun Chuzhou said goodbye to everyone with a smile. Then, she hopped and went to collect the spirit stones with the elder who was in charge of the treasury. After Yun Chuzhou left, Master Xianyuan asked in a deep voice, everyone, what do you think about Yun Chuzhia's purple thunder root spirit? Master, I've read about it in a book that has been passed down since ancient times. Although it isn't directed at the thunder root spirit, I think the idea behind it might be the same. The one who spoke was Elder Duanmu, who was in charge of the library. Master Xianyuan and everyone immediately turned their gazes to Elder Duanmu. What records? It's recorded that in addition to the 5 types of root spirits, there are 3 other types in the world. Namely, wind, thunder, and ice. Each type of root spirit's talent is divided into 1 to 10 stars. If the talent is more than 10 stars, then it will appear in a completely different state. The records refer to these root spirits with innate talent above 10 stars as heavenly root spirits. Not only does the heavenly root spirit cultivate at an astonishing speed, but it often has other hidden talents, such as alchemy, talisman making, array formation, and so on. Everyone was stunned by Elder Duanmu's words. After a long while, an elder exclaimed, could it be that Yun Chuzhou has the heavenly root spirit? Elder Duanmu nodded and then shook his head. This heavenly root spirit is only a legendary existence. I'm only telling you what I know for everyone's reference. As for whether Yun Chuzhou has the heavenly lightning root spirit or not, I can't say for sure. Elder Chu said excitedly, it must be. Otherwise, why would Patriarch Linghua choose this little girl as his disciple? The rolling pin was not attracted to anyone else. Why did it choose Yun Chuzhou? Sect Master, Spirit Radiance Sect has picked up a treasure this time. Master Xianyuan and the others were also extremely excited, but Elder Duanmu sighed. Everyone, don't be happy too early. Although the heavenly root spirit has all sorts of benefits, it's because it's too outstanding. The heavens doesn't allow such a heaven-defying person to exist. This is also the reason why the heavenly root spirits has not appeared in the past tens of thousands of years. I surmise that the dense purple heavenly lightning that descended upon our sect was probably to kill Yun Chuzhou. Chapter 246, Supergrade Spirit Gathering Pill. Everyone thought of Yun Chuzhia's room that had been struck by the heavenly lightning. It was too terrifying to be targeted by it. Could the person that the heavens wanted to kill still live? The answer was obvious. Yun Chujiu had been targeted by so many heavenly lightning before she could even cultivate. If she could cultivate, would she not be turned into ashes very soon? Master Xianyuan frowned. Yun Chujiu didn't show any other talent. Maybe Yun Chujiu doesn't have the heavenly lightning root spirit, but just an ordinary lightning root spirit. Elder Qi sighed and said, Master, Yun Chujiu has other talents. She has a photographic memory. Elder Chu added, and she speaks eloquently. Didn't she fool those mighty elephants a few days ago? How could an ordinary person do that? Elder Shao frowned. Yun Chujiu is good at taking advantage of opportunities. Her victory over Su Yanran a few days ago is a typical example. I wonder if being sinister and cunning is considered talent. Master Xianyuan silently added in his heart. This fellow is also extremely greedy and has cheated me of many things. Although what everyone is saying can be considered talent, it isn't too heaven-defying. Why don't we observe first? If she really has the heavenly root spirit, we will tell her the whole story and let her decide whether to continue cultivating or not. Everyone, the matter of a heavenly root spirit is truly inconceivable. Everyone, please keep it a secret. Master Xianyuan said after thinking for a moment. Everyone did not have any other good ideas to handle it, so they nodded their heads in agreement. Yun Chujiu did not know that she had already become the focus of attention. She took the spirit stones and ran to Elder Qi's spirit herb garden, continuing to collecting herbs. She was already at the 5th level of the spirit cultivator realm. She was prepared to get more goods so that she could go to the alchemy room to refine spirit gathering pills. Yun Chujiu borrowed a lot of spirit herbs from the outer area and extended her evil hand to the high-level spirit herb garden. Yun Chujiu carefully took a few leaves and then stopped. Elder Qi was keeping a close watch on the spirit herbs there. It would be bad if she was discovered. The dormitory was still under construction, so she just happened to go to the alchemy room to stay for the night. Therefore, Yun Chujiu went straight to the alchemy room with a big sack on her back. Manager Gao's head hurt a little when he saw Yun Chujiu's appearance. Yun Chujiu, why didn't you go to Elder Qi's place to help? Why did you come here instead? Manager Gao, I haven't refined pills for a long time, so my hands are a little itchy. Hurry up and give me an alchemy room. I'll finish this quickly and try to get out tomorrow morning. This time, I definitely won't release any poisonous smoke. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Manager Gao braced himself and gave Yun Chujiu the jade token for room number 28. Yun Chujiu happily took the jade token and rushed to the room. Did you hear? Yun Chujiu came to refine pills again. What? Do you know when she will leave? I'll stay far away when that time comes. The poisonous smoke last time made my throat hurt for several days. Manager Gao said that shall be done by tomorrow morning. At that time, well, just avoid her. Yes. You're right. I have to hurry up with my work. I will not stay in this damn place tomorrow morning no matter what. Yun Chujiu entered alchemy room number 28. After opening the isolation array, she began to refine pills crazily. The first batch was successfully completed. Not only was there a 100% success rate, but they were all super-grade pills with pill patterns. After the strange grass in her dantian smelled the fragrance, it immediately began to complain about its hunger. Therefore, Yun Chujiu swallowed a lot of spirit-gathering pills while refining pills. By midnight, Yun Chujiu had already turned a few sacks of herbs into a super-grade spirit-gathering pills. Chapter 247, Am I That Shameless? After a short nap, Yun Chujiu got up and filled the alchemy furnace with a bunch of miscellaneous things again. This time, she was merciful and did not put any chili powder in. After the burnt smell was produced, she carried a sack of shredded cabbage out of the alchemy room. Huh? Why is there no one here? Where did all the people go? Yun Chujiu shook her head inexplicably and ran out of the alchemy room with a big sack on her back. Manager Gao saw that Yun Chuzhou had gone far away and shouted loudly, "Cough! Cough! Come out! The smoke this time isn't too bad. Cough! Cough!" Hearing Manager Gao, the doors of the alchemy room opened one after another. Everyone lifted their noses and took a sniff. Sure enough, it was much better than the previous 2 times. It seemed that this Yun Chuzhou had improved. It had to be said that the efficiency at Spirit Radiance sect was not bad. When Yun Chuzhou returned to her dormitory, she saw that the house had already been repaired. That night, Yun Chuzhou mysteriously called Yun Chuzi and the others to her courtyard. "Little Jiu, do you want to roast meat?" Yun Cholu said casually. "Roasted meat is a must. After eating the roast meat, I have something good for you," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Yun Chuzi and the others were very curious. However, Yun Chuzhou kept them in suspense and did not say anything. It was not easy for them to finish the barbecued meat, so Yun Chuzhou went back to the house having said that she wanted to get something. "What's that smell?" "It smells like medicine." Yun Chuba sniffed curiously. "Yeah. It smells so good. What did little Jiu hide in the house?" Yun Chuki echoed. "It smells like a spirit gathering pill, but smells more potent than that." "What exactly is it?" Qing Si asked in confusion. Not long after, Yun Chuzhou came out with a basin. "La la la. The good stuff is here. Everyone, please take a look." Yun Chuzhou put the basin on the stone table with a bang. Yun Chuzi and the others could not wait to surround her. Then, they were all dumbfounded. After a long while, Yun Chu said anxiously, "Little Jiu. Where did you get these pills? Did you steal them from Elder Qi? Quickly return them. There are so many pills. If they are discovered, Elder Qi will not forgive you." "That's right, little Jiu. Before anyone finds out, quickly return them," Yun Chuzi advised from the side. Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips. "I really didn't steal it. Am I such a shameless person?" Everyone silently said in their hearts, "You are. You definitely are." Yun Chuzhou saw that everyone was extremely worried, so she could only find an excuse. "Do you see the patterns on the medicinal pills? These medicinal pills were all wasted spirit gathering pills refined by Elder Qi. It would be a pity to throw them away, so I asked for them. I've double-checked. Although these pills aren't the best, 2 of them can still match the effect of one." Yun Chuzi and the others did not know that transcendent grade pills existed at all. Seeing that there were indeed patterns on them, they believed her. Yun Chu even said, "Little Jiu, you really didn't just take them?" "Tisk, 5th sister, how could I be so bold?" "Don't worry, these pills were obtained in a normal manner. However, Elder Qi didn't allow me to tell others. He was afraid that they would say that he was unjust, so you guys have to keep it a secret," Yun Chuzhou said seriously. Yun Chuzi and the others nodded one after another. Only Qing Si thought about it thoroughly. Pills with patterns. Why do I feel like I've heard my mother mention this before? Why can't I remember what it is? Come, 4th brother, take this basin of spirit gathering pills and distribute it to everyone every day. Just eat 2 before cultivating. Don't eat too many. Yun Chuzhou handed the basin to Yun Chuzi. Chapter 248, was indeed worthy of being the skull that the young master had fancied. Yun Chuzi and the others were fooled by Yun Chuzhou. As expected, they took 2 defunct spirit gathering pills on time every day. In less than 10 days, 6 people actually broke through and advanced. Little Jiu, these 10 days of cultivation are comparable to a year of cultivation. This must be the effect of those defunct pills. Are you sure these are really defunct pills? The effect is too strong. Little Jiu, logically speaking, the spirit gathering pills shouldn't have such a great effect. Are these really useless pills? That's right, little Jiu. You're not fooling us, right? Yun Chujiu said with a smile, that's because your cultivation has just reached a bottleneck. These pills are just icing on the cake. Of course I'm not fooling you. If I stole them, how could Elder Qi not find out about it even after such a long time? Yun Chuzi and the others thought about it. If Yun Chujiu really stole them, it would have been exposed by then. In order to prevent you from advancing too quickly and causing your foundation to be unstable, from today onward, you will take 1 pill instead of 2. Yun Chujiu did not expect that this supergrade spirit gathering pill was so abnormal. If you advanced too quickly, it would inevitably attract the attention of others, so it was better to keep a low profile. Yun Chuzi and the others were now following Yun Chuji's lead, so they naturally did not have any objections. Time flew by quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. There was only half a month left before the new disciple test. During these 2 months, not only did Di Biming not visit, he did not even send a message through the voice transmission talisman. Although Yun Chujiu would occasionally feel frustrated, she quickly put it aside and did not take the initiative to use a voice transmission talisman to contact Di Biming. On one evening, Yun Chujiu had just returned from the spirit herb garden to her dormitory when Yun Chu and the others arrived with smiles on their faces. Yun Chujiu asked with some puzzlement, "Fifth sister, what is it that makes you so happy? Could it be that you guys have advanced again?" Yun Chu shook her head. "Silly girl, have you forgotten what day it is today?" "What day is it?" Yun Chujiu was so dumb that she could not react in time. "Today is the 9th day of the 7th month. It's your 15th birthday. Look. Didn't you say that there was something called a birthday cake? We made one according to your description. Do you like it?" Yun Chu took a birthday cake out from her storage bag and placed it on the stone table. When Yun Chujiu saw the so-called birthday cake, she could not help but laugh out loud. "How's this a birthday cake? It's clearly just a few thin candles placed on the big fat cake. Happy birthday, little Jiu. Little Jiu, I wish you become more and more beautiful. Little Jiu, I wish you happiness every day." Yun Chujiu looked at the funny birthday cake and listened to everyone's blessings, but her eyes slowly turned red. Whether it was in her past life or this life, this was her first birthday. It felt good to have someone remember and care about her. For the warmth she was receiving, she had to protect the Yun family and the hard-won affection. Yun Chuzi and the others were well prepared. Apart from the food, there were also a few pots of spiritual wine. The group made a fuss for a while. It was already very late, so Yun Chuzi and the others left. After Yun Chujiu sent Yun Chuzi and the others away, she sat beside the stone table and began to drink by herself. The 2 foodies, Little Black and the Silver Dragon, naturally would not let go of such an opportunity. They also began to drink. The 3 lords' pets drank happily. Yun Chuji's little face was red from drinking. With a hint of drunkenness, she chanted, "A pot of wine in the flower room," drinking alone without a blind date, raising a cup to look at the bright moon, and facing the shadow into 3 people. Oh, this little girl even knows how to recite poetry. As expected of the skull that the young master has taken a fancy to, a devilish voice came from midair. Chapter 249, Shui Wuji. Yun Chujiu looked up with her drunken eyes and saw 2 people descending from the sky. The person who spoke was the red-clothed pervert who had stolen the fruit of the witch hazel grass previously. If Yun Chujiu was not drunk, she definitely would have ran away and shouted for help at the same time. However, at that moment, she was already about 70% drunk and was extraordinarily bold. Yun Chujiu glanced at the red-clothed man. "So it's you, the medicine thief. Why didn't you go to the spirit herb garden to steal medicine? Why did you come to my place?" The red-clothed man looked at Yun Chujiu with interest. "Little girl, you took my aging pill last time. Why aren't you dead yet? You're the one who's going to die." I haven't lived long enough. If you don't know how to speak, then get lost. Yun Chujio downed a cup of spirit wine and said fiercely. The man in red did not get angry. Instead, he laughed. Interesting. Interesting. The last time someone spoke to me like this, how did I treat him? Hua Hua, tell this little girl. The corner of the man in black's eyes twitched violently. The name Hua Hua was the biggest stain in his life. Young master ordered someone to cut him dozens of times, spread honey all over his wounds, and then put him in the cave of the stone-eating ants. Yun Chujio nodded and said, first, Hua Hua isn't a bad name at all. Your taste is very much in line with mine. Second, you're fucking wasteful. Wouldn't it be better to use the honey to eat? There are many ways to torture people, but you've actually wasted spiritual honey on this. What an idiot. The black-clothed man thought that this black girl must be tired of living. She had actually angered the young master several times. Previously, she was lucky enough to escape, but this time, she was dead for sure. The black-clothed man never expected that the red-clothed man would just sit on the stone bench. He took out a wine cup from his storage ring. Little girl, come. Pour it. As the saying goes, it's hard to find a soulmate. You're the first person to praise my aesthetic standards. Yun Chujio was not pretentious. She filled the red-robed man's wine glass to the brim, and then said, this name is just a code name. Naturally, it should be easy to remember. Just like my name, Yun Chujio. How easy it is to remember. One look and you can tell that my name is Chujio. Oh right, red-robed pervert, what's your name? Red-robed pervert. The black-robed man scared that his knees almost buckled under him. Calling him the medicine thief was already bad enough, but now he actually called their young master a red-clothed pervert. This little girl was really seeking death by being cheeky. The black-clothed man felt that the young master was definitely going to make a move against her. Who would have thought that the red-clothed man would just smile devilishly and drink the spiritual wine in the glass in one gulp? Then, he slowly said, Shue Wuji. Shue Wuji. Ha ha ha. Wuji. Doesn't Wuji mean black-bone chicken? Damn, I'm dying of laughter. Your name is so funny. Yun Chujio laughed so hard that she almost fell off the stone bench. Is it very funny? A cold light flashed in Shue Wuji's eyes. He clenched his fingers tightly and there was a faint cracking sound. Obviously, he was extremely angry. Of course it's funny. You're actually a chicken. And a black chicken at that. Ha ha ha. Yun Chujio was already 80% drunk at that time and did not notice the killing intent in Shue Wuji's eyes. The man in red looked at Yun Chujio and seemed to have thought of something. A cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, but he did not make a move. Instead, he smiled and said, the name is just a code name. There's nothing wrong with black chicken. If you like it, you can just call me that. Chapter 250, Brother Wuji the black-clothed man, Hua Hua, felt that his young master must have taken the wrong medicine. Usually, if someone had the slightest intention of disobeying him, the punishment would be severe, in the worst-case scenario, it would be death. However, the black girl had repeatedly insulted and provoked him that day, but the young master did not kill her, and even allowed her to call him a bloody chicken. If he had not taken the wrong medicine, then he must have gone mad. Yun Chujio listened to Shue Wuji's words and sized him up a few times. You have a good temper. If only you weren't out for human skulls, then that would be better. Shadow Agent Hua Hua was almost angered to tears by Yun Chujio's words. Our young master has a good temper. Don't you feel guilty saying that? In the Tianyuan continent, who did not know that our young master was famous for being temperamental and reckless? Shue Wuji raised the cup in his hand and moved his head closer to Yun Chujio. He said with a bit of charm, little beauty, it's okay if you don't want to give up your skull. How about we make friends? Shadow Agent Huahua was almost scared to the ground. Young master, did you forget to bring your brain when you went out today? Make friends? Who would dare to make friends with you? With your temper showing at the slightest disagreement, even if you had 100 lives, it wouldn't be enough for you to kill, okay? Yun Chujio looked at Shui Wuji's slender phoenix eyes and giggled foolishly. You're really quite good-looking. However, I, Yun Chujio, am not easy to befriend. You have to provide me with spirit stones, buy me delicious food, and even give me spirit tools to play with when you're free. Can you bear to do all that? The corner of Shui Wuji's eyes twitched a few times. Then, he sat up straight as if nothing had happened. How difficult is that? As long as it's something that can be done with money, it's not a problem for me. However, I came out in a hurry this time and didn't bring many spirit stones with me. I'll give it to you next time. Shadow Agent Huahua secretly pursed his lips. Young master, that's enough. Everyone knows you're famous for being stingy. You were generous with treating yourself, but when it came to others, you're stingy. Yun Chujio slammed the table. Are you fooling around? If you're not bringing the precious items with you, are you leaving them for others to steal? If you don't take out 10,000 low-grade spirit stones today, get lost from my sights. Shui Wuji narrowed his eyes and took a deep breath. He clenched his fist, and then loosened it. It was not easy for him to suppress the thought of slapping Yun Chujio. Then, he actually poured out a pile of shiny spirit stones from his storage ring. Yun Chujio saw the spirit stones and her attitude immediately changed. Red-clothed, Brother Wuji. As the old saying goes, it's always a pleasure to have friends coming from afar. Your afterlife is filled with great fortune. It's my honor to be able to be friends with you. Come, drink. Shadow Agent Huahua was dumbfounded. Fuck, what happened? How did this little girl suddenly change from a shrew to an innocent and charming little girl? Shui Wuji was stunned for a moment, then he drank the wine in his glass in one gulp. Little Sister Jiu is really a straightforward person. What's the point of drinking without eating? Come, I have some good wine and dishes here. Shui Wuji took out a plate of delicious dishes from his storage ring. Are you expecting payment for this? Yun Chujio was obviously afraid of debeiming, so she asked if he wanted money. Shui Wuji was stunned for a moment, and then said, Of course I don't want money. You're really generous. Yun Chujio picked up her chopsticks and drank the food and wine one mouthful at a time. Brother Wuji, come, you eat too. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Shui Wuji picked up his chopsticks and casually ate a few mouthfuls. Then, he watched Yun Chujio eat. His eyes revealed a trace of unnoticeable pride. Chapter 251, What's his relationship with you? Little Black and the Silver Dragon also wanted to eat, but they were sent flying by Yun Chujio's slap. Get lost. I haven't had enough. You're really in the way. Yun Chujio simply put Little Black into her spirit beast bag, and the silver dragon morphed into a rolling pin. Brother Wuji, isn't there 2 little dishes? There should be 4 dishes and 1 soup. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said with a smile. Shui Wuji gritted his teeth and took out 3 dishes and 1 soup from his storage ring. Then, he picked up his chopsticks and began to eat quickly. However, his chopsticks did not even get a chance to touch the first dish. A glimmer of light flashed in Yun Chujio's eyes. As she ate, she muttered, Brother Wuji, eat slowly. It won't be good if you accidentally choke to death. Shui Wuji was so angry that the veins on his forehead popped up. He took a deep breath and pointed at the first dish. Little Sister Jiu, eat more of this. This is snow clam meat. It's very good for girls. It's specifically beneficial for your appearance. Yun Chujio nodded. Brother Wuji, you have some too. Although you're pretty, you're still a little worse off than me. If you eat more, you might be able to catch up with my beauty. The shadow agent had a look of disdain. Damn it, little girl. Do you know what it means to know your own limits? You don't even have the complexion or TE figure. How can you be more beautiful than our young master? Are you that shameless? Shui Wuji could see the bottom of the plate of snow clam meat, so he asked casually, "Little sister Jiu, how are you fine after taking the aging pill previously?" Yun Chujio looked a little confused, and then she answered with a straight face, Because I threw it up later." Shui Wuji raised his eyebrows and asked, "What's the relationship between you and Biming?" Yun Chujio's eyes were a little dull, and she answered mechanically, Biming is my enemy. I want to kill him." Shui Wuji frowned and asked again, "Why did you two become enemies?" "Because he covets my beauty and wants to take advantage of me. I want to kill him. I must cut him into pieces." Yun Chujio became increasingly agitated as she spoke. Then, she fell to the ground with a bang. Apparently, she had fainted from drunkenness. The corner of Shui Wuji's eyes twitched. He glanced at Yun Chujio who was lying on the ground. Then, he raised his hand and put it down before saying to the black-clothed man behind him, "Go." Even though the black-clothed man had a stomach full of questions, he did not dare to question Shui Wuji's decision. He followed Shui Wuji and left. After the two of them left Spirit Radiance sect, Shui Wuji smiled sinisterly. "Hua Hua, why didn't you ask you why I didn't kill that tan girl?" "I dare not. Young master naturally has his reasons for doing this." The black-clothed man proceeded to curse in his heart. Last time, he had said too much and he almost made him commit suicide. How would he dare to ask more? TSK, how boring. If that expressionless man discovers that the little beauty he covets actually likes me, don't you think it would be very interesting? Shui Wuji took out a skull and started playing with it. "Young master, I don't think Biming would fall for that tan girl, right? She's so tan and boring. Why would Biming fall for her? Could it be that she's lying to us? She took the truth-telling pill, it's impossible for her to lie. No matter what the reason made Biming interested in her, I must have that little beauty in my hands. She actually dared to call me black chicken. Little beauty, it'll make you regret coming into this world." The skull in Shui Wuji's hands turned into powder. The black-clothed man shivered. This time, the young master was really angry. That tan girl was really too mean. Inform Jiao Jiao to withdraw. That expressionless man's subordinate spiritual power is too low. Don't try to overreach oneself. Yes. The black-robed man felt that his heart was calm. Compared to the name Jiao Jiao, Hua Hua was still acceptable. Chapter 252, Shui Wuji visited again. Damn it. This red-clothed pervert is really hard to deal with. If it wasn't for my quick wit, I'm afraid I would have choked my farts. Yun Chujio opened her eyes. How could she still be drunk? "Master, how did that red-clothed pervert know that we're related?" The little black bird was released from the spirit beast pouch. "How would I know? I'm afraid that there's a mole within the gigolo's ranks or that someone is following him. However, he wants to trick me with that idiot chicken. It's simply a dream. I'll play him to death." Yun Chujio pouted and stood up. "Master, since you're pretending to be drunk, why don't you just say that you have nothing to do with the gigolo?" Little Black asked in confusion. "Seeing that red-clothed pervert asked me that, I'm afraid he has some confidence about it. If I completely deny it, it'll make him suspicious. It's better to teeter between reality and a lie so that he can't figure it out." "Master, will he still come to find trouble with us?" "Of course he will come. However, since he didn't make a move just now, he must have other plans. When the time comes, he'll just have to counter his moves." I don't believe that I can't defeat that chicken. I'll skin him alive and make a small fortune. His poison is a great tonic for me. Yun Chujiu yawned. She put the spirit stones into her storage ring and went back to her room to sleep. Little Black looked at the mess on the stone table and said, "Master, to put it nicely, you're open-minded. To put it bluntly, you're heartless. How can you fall asleep in this state? I'm so worried." A day after, Shui Wuji visited again when Yun Chujiu was taking a walk in the yard. "Little sister Jiu, big brother is here to see you." Yun Chujiu stepped back with a surprised look. "You? So I wasn't dreaming that day. Did we really drink together?" Shui Wuji sat on the stone bench as if he was familiar with her and smiled. "Of course it's true. Didn't you say that you already considers me a friend?" Yun Chujiu said timidly, "Then you want kill me and take my skull, right?" "Of course not. We're friends now." Shui Wuji had some doubts in his heart, but when he saw Yun Chujiu's reaction, he thought to himself, this little girl was so bold last time. It seemed that she was truly drunk, so her words must be undoubtedly true. When Yun Chujiu heard Shui Wuji's words, she immediately jumped over. "Brother Wuji, since you're really befriending me, are you here to send me spirit stones and delicious food again?" Shui Wuji gritted his teeth. "Didn't I already give you 10,000 spirit stones last time?" Yun Chujiu pouted. "Brother Wuji, I originally thought that you were much stronger than Di Baiming. I didn't expect you to be so stingy. You're really disappointing me. That expressionless man gave you spirit stones. How much did he give you?" "Since he coveted my beauty, he naturally had to curry favor with me. Not only did he give me spirit stones, he gave me a lot of delicious food too. For example, steamed white dace fish, braised sword-bristled pork ribs, shrimp, and pastries. He has always been very generous to me. However, I don't like his expressionless face. Otherwise, I would have listened to him." Yun Chujiu sat on the stone bench, crossed her legs, and said. When Shui Wuji heard the names of these dishes, it was really not something that the people of Qingxian continent could make up. It seemed that Di Baiming, that expressionless guy, had really invested a lot in this little girl. How could he be inferior to him? "Little sister Jiu, you did the right thing. I'm telling you, that man is gay. It doesn't mean he fancies you just because he's being nice. He definitely has some unspeakable intentions toward you. It's just spirit stones and delicious food, right? I have plenty of them. In the future, feel free to ask me for them." Chapter 253, I'll play you to death, Brother Wuji, do you know Di Baiming? Yun Chujiu almost burst out laughing. If the gigolo knew that someone said he was gay, he would probably be so angry that he would hit his head against the wall. "Of course I recognize that inexpressive man. Keep these spirit stones. If you run out of flowers, ask me for more." Shui Wuji changed the topic without batting an eyelid. Yun Chujiu looked at the pile of shiny spirit stones on the ground and said with a smile, "Brother Wuji, the storage bags given out by my sect are too small. Can you give me a few storage bags?" Yun Chujiu took out the storage bag given by the sect and said with a look of disdain. Shui Wuji's eyes flashed. "Little sister Jiu, I see that you don't have any spiritual power. How do you use the storage bag?" Yun Chujiu said mysteriously, "Brother Wuji, I'll let you in on this secret. Actually, I have the thunder root spirit so I can cultivate. As for why others can't tell the presence or level of my spiritual power, it's because I obtained a spirit concealing pill and can hide my spiritual power after consuming it. Thunder spirit root. It's a very rare spiritual root. Does that expressionless Di Baiming know about this?" Shui Wuji was very surprised even though he had already guessed that Yun Chujiu had spirit energy. After all, without spirit energy, it was impossible for an immortal item to recognize her as its owner. However, her having the thunder root spirit was a little surprising. I can't be bothered to tell him. But, he should have partly figured it out by now. Yun Chujio said disdainfully. Yun Chujio's disdainful expression pleased Shui Wuji. Shui Wuji took out a small ring from the storage ring and handed it to Yun Chujio. Little sister Jiu, take this storage ring. This one is worth hundreds of storage bags. Shadow Agent Huahua rubbed his eyes and scratched his ears. My God, young master. Are you crazy or stupid? That was a storage ring with its own hidden attribute. How many people were there in the Tianyuan continent who could not even buy a high-grade spirit tool even if they were rich? And you're giving it to this tan girl just like that? Are you still the stingy young master that I know? This. Brother Wuji, this storage ring is too valuable. What if someone tries stealing it? It's better for you to give me a few storage bags. Although Yun Chujio said so, she clenched the storage ring tightly and had no intention of returning it to Shui Wuji. Shui Wuji naturally picked up on Yun Chujio's minor actions. Not only was he not disgusted, he even felt like he had found a kindred spirit. Little sister Jiu, you don't have to worry about this. As long as you refine the ring, it can be hidden as you wish. Really? It's so magical. Brother Wuji, you're really too generous. Yun Chujio pretended to be a country bumpkin who had never seen the world before, but in fact, she was extremely happy in her heart. Little fellow, do you think you can fool me? I'll play you to death. Of course. Although this storage ring is worth millions of high-grade spirit stones, our friendship is priceless. In the future, if that expressionless man comes back, I'll help you deal with him. Yun Chujio nodded repeatedly. The two of them chatted for a while, and then Shui Wuji left with Shadow Agent Huahua. Huahua, what do you think of that little girl? Young master, I think that little girl is very greedy. She's also very impulsive. I can't see any other characteristics aside from that. You're right. I have the best experience in dealing with these type of people. All I need to do is spend some spirit stones and give her some good food. Young master, since this little girl is so easy to deal with, why didn't Debeiming take her down? Besides, with Debeiming's spiritual power, it's really easy to subdue her, so why let her rebel? TSK. Huahua, you don't even know. Debeiming, that inexpressive man, can't even speak. How could he make a young girl like him? As for why he didn't make a move, I'm afraid he just wanted to have some fun. After all, getting a person's heart is more challenging than anything else. Shadow Agent Huahua was speechless. Young master, is being so narcissistic good for you? According to what I know, there are more women who like Debeiming in the Tianyuan continent than people like you, someone who acts recklessly. Chapter 254, The lightning did not come with good intentions this time, young master, although you want to bribe that little girl, you wouldn't go so far as to give her such a valuable storage ring, would you? Shadow Agent Huahua could not resist and asked courageously. Shui Wuji sneered a few times, after I'm done using that little girl, I'll kill her. At that time, that storage ring will be mine again. Everything in there will also be mine. How can I invest in a business that will not bring me benefit? Shadow Agent Huahua was enlightened. Young master is really wise. Shui Wuji laughed arrogantly, she's just a little girl, so I can easily toy with her. I'm not like that Debeiming. He can't even deal with a little girl after such a long time. What a waste. Shadow Agent Huahua nodded repeatedly, but there was a strange feeling in his heart. Could that little girl really be that simple? How can our young master handle someone so easily when even Debeiming couldn't? At the same time, Yun Chujio was refining the storage ring. After a while, she began to show off happily, little black, little flame, am I that good at deceiving people? That Wuji still wants to use me to deal with the gigolo. PFTT. With his coquettish appearance, he's not even as pleasing to the eye as a gigolo. He wants to use me. I'll play him to death. Master. That red-clothed pervert doesn't look like he's easy to talk to, but he went ahead and gave you such an expensive storage ring. Could it be a trap? Little Black blinked its possessed eyes and said suspiciously. Yun Chujiu pouted. TSK. He probably wants to exploit me entirely before taking back the ring. Even the heavenly lightning can't kill me, and he wants to kill me. Dream on. Just as Yun Chujiu finished her sentence, the originally clear sky gradually darkened. Yun Chujiu raised her head to look. Thick, dark clouds was gathering in the sky. The dark color looked very scary, and there were even faint rolling thunderbolts. Little Black, I'm afraid it's not going to be good this time. Go into the spirit beast pouch. I'm afraid that you won't be able to withstand the intensity this time. Yun Chujiu faintly felt a trace of unease. This kind of perception of danger allowed her to avoid countless life-and-death situations in her previous life, so she trusted her intuition. Little Black also felt a sense of suffocation and obediently hid in the spirit beast pouch. Yun Chujiu also put the rolling pin and a few defensive spirit tools into her storage ring. She was afraid that the heavenly lightning this time would be too overbearing and hurt innocent people, so she ran into the depths of the back mountain. Master Xianyuan and the others naturally realized this phenomenon. Master, a large amount of dark clouds have gathered at the back mountain of Middle Peak. There are faint traces of lightning within. I'm afraid that the heavens can no longer tolerate Yun Chujiu. Master Xianyuan was on a fence. Should he save her or not? If he did not save her, he would have to just watch as Yun Chujiu was killed by the heavens. He really could not bear it. He had to save her. How could the strength of a mortal withstand the power of the heavenly lightning? Master Xianyuan thought for a moment with a serious expression, then said, Everyone, wait here. I'll go and check on Yun Chujiu's situation. If anything happens to me, you'll choose a new sect master according to the sect's tradition. Sect master. No. Everyone immediately stopped Master Xianyuan when they heard him say this. Sect master, you're the sect master. How can you put yourself in danger? Yun Chujiu is from my middle peak, I'll go. Peak master Yu summoned his spirit sword and was about to ride it to the back of middle peak. Elder Qi said loudly, Peak master Yu, stop. I'll go. My spiritual sense has long been damaged, and it will only be a matter of a few years. Why don't I do something for the sect? Elder Duanmu shouted loudly, Everyone stop. Listen to me. Don't interfere in this matter. How can you and I bear the power of the heavens? This matter can only be borne by Yun Chujiu herself. Even if we helped her to endure this time, every advancement in the future will be punished by the heavens. Can we help her to endure that? If she can endure it, it'll be her good fortune. If she can't, it'll also be her fate. When everyone heard Elder Duanmu's words, they remained silent. He's right. Even if we help Yun Chujiu this time, what about the next time? What about the following events? If we want to grow, we have to go through trials and tribulations. Yun Chujiu, will you defeat the heavens and fate? Chapter 255, You are destroying the ecological balance, notify everyone that they aren't allowed to go near Middle Peak's back mountain. Those who violate the sect rules will be punished. Also, notify the people from the Middle Peak's kitchen to immediately stay away from the back mountain. Also, strengthen the patrols around the sect to prevent other forces from probing. After Master Xianyuan thought it through, he immediately ordered, Go. The disciples of Spirit Radiance sect had also sensed an unusual aura. Even some of the disciples with low spiritual power felt a little breathless. What on earth was going on? If it was a cloudy day, why were there only such thick dark clouds gathered behind Middle Peak? Why was the sect forbidding them from approaching the back area? Yunchu and the others did not see Yunchujio. They ran to Yunchujia's dormitory to look for her. When they saw that she was not in her dormitory, they thought that she had gone to Elder Chi's place. Only then did they retreat to a safe area with ease. After a quarter of an hour, several purple heavenly lightning bolts began to fall from the clouds. One after another. The booming sound was deafening. It was the first time that everyone had seen such a marvelous scene. Interesting. Do you think that these heavenly lightning bolts are striking something? It shouldn't be, right? Even if a mighty figure ascends to the heavenly tribulation, there should only be 9 heavenly lightning bolts, right? I think there has been more than 30 heavenly lightning bolts. With such a dense amount of heavenly lightning bolts, the back of the mountains probably has hold in it already. Then what's going on? Why would such a dense amount of heavenly lightning descend for no reason? Who knows? Let's just watch the show. No matter what happens, it has nothing to do with us little shrimps. Unlike the idle masses, Master Xianyuan and the others were extremely worried. Could Yunchujio withstand such a dense amount of heavenly lightning? The purple heavenly lightning was comparable to the lightning of tribulation. If it was anyone else, they would not even be able to withstand 7 bolts. What was more, a dozen bolts. It seemed that the heavens had given up on killing Yunchujio, this heaven-defying existence. Everyone could not help but sigh. Who would have thought that the most useless Yunchujio actually had the most heaven-defying heavenly lightning root spirit? However, would Yunchujio be able to survive? At that moment, Yunchujio was like a rabbit being chased by a dog at the back of the mountain, constantly shuttling through the forest. Those purple lightning bolts continuously struck the trees, and the low-level demon beasts there ran down the mountain like crazy. Yunchujio dodged while cursing, "You damned little loaches, you're destroying the ecological balance, do you understand? You've already cut down the trees. How are these little creatures going to survive in the future? You're really heartless. I'm embarrassed for you. Shameless. I'm talking about you guys. It's fine if you chop me up for no reason, but why do you always come to gang up on me? If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. Do you think I'm afraid of you? I've eaten too much, so I'm just going to play with you guys. Since you're rushing to your death, then come. I'll wait for you." Yunchujio was a typical loser who could not lose. Even though she was hiding in an extremely sorry state, her mouth was not idle. She annoyed the dark clouds in the sky. Strike. Strike with all your might. The clouds will not disappear until the scourge was rid of. An hour later, Yunchujio found that the forest had been hacked into charcoal, and she could not run anymore. The dark clouds in the sky twisted a few times proudly, and the purple lightning struck down even more densely. Yunchujio rolled her eyes. For now, she could only rely on the strange grass in her dantian. It was not her time yet, so she could not choke on her farts. Therefore, Yunchujio ran as she communicated with the strange grass in her dantian. Chapter 256, was like a balloon. Yunchujio talked to the strange grass in her dantian. "Go Weiba, this is a great opportunity. Save up all the dense heavenly lightning. After I survive this round, I'll advance to the 6th level of spirit enhancement. When the time comes, I'll refine even more advanced medicinal pills for you. Go Weiba, we're now on the same boat. My host body is choking on its farts and you won't live either, so you better buck up. Go Weiba, I see that you're usually pretty awesome. Don't tell me you can't even deal with these little purple loaches." The strange grass in her dantian shook violently, probably conveying that it looked down on the purple heavenly lightning bolts. Yunchujio instantly felt a lot more at ease. Although the strange grass was a ticking time bomb, it would at least protect her before trying to fatten her up with nourishment. Yunchujio felt confident in her heart and she immediately started showing off. "Hey! I'm tired from running, so I'm just going to sit here. If you have the ability, then strike me. If you don't dare to do so, then you're a bastard. As Yun Chujio said that, she actually sat cross-legged on the ground, looking as if she was ready to be struck by lightning. The dark clouds in the sky began to churn violently. Several purple bolts of lightning gathered into 5 huge bolts of lightning as thick as a wrist, and struck down violently at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could not help but feel her scalp go numb. In the past, one such bolt of lightning could strike her no problem. However, with these 5 bolts of lightning, she definitely would have to get her hair messy. If other people knew what Yun Chujio was thinking at that moment, they would definitely be angered to death. At that point in time, she was still thinking about her hair. The most important thing right then was to save her life, alright? The 5 huge bolts of lightning were like 5 purple lightning dragons, ferociously pouncing toward Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio made up her mind. At most, she would die. Perhaps with this strike, she would have transmigrated again. This time, she had to arrange a good family for her. If she was not going to be a princess, then at least let her date one. Just as Yun Chujio's thoughts were running wild, 5 bolts of lightning had already struck her. Yun Chujio could not help but let out a miserable cry. Fuck. It hurt so much. Her body seemed as though it was about to explode. All her limbs and bones were occupied by the ferocious power of lightning. The power of lightning kept crashing into Yun Chujio's meridians. Yun Chujio's body was obviously rapidly expanding. At that moment, only Yun Chujio's brain was functioning. At that moment, she thought miserably, it's over. I'm like a balloon now. When it reaches a certain level, I'm going to explode. Dead without a complete corpse. The dark clouds in the sky shook with pride. Little fellow, let's see how you'll stagger when going up against the heavenly lightning. It'll definitely strike you into ashes. Boom. 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 The dark clouds continued to ceaselessly strike. Yun Chujio felt that she was going to be doomed this time. Although the strange grass in her dantian was trying its best to absorb the lightning in her body, it could not withstand the continuous lightning strikes from the dark clouds in the sky. Just as it absorbed a portion of it, a large amount of lightning power surged into her body. She was only flesh and blood. How could she withstand such violent lightning power? Master, let me out. I'll help you absorb some. Little Black shouted from inside the spiritual beast pouch. It's useless even if you come out, Little Black. It's different this time. Why should you sacrifice your little life? Besides, we signed an equal contract. If I die, you'll be free. Yun Chujio said with a bitter smile. I'm willing. Stop talking nonsense. Let me out quickly. Little Black kept banging its head against the spiritual beast pouch, as if it would kill itself if it was not let out. Chapter 257, Debiming, Stop. Yun Chujio was touched when she saw the little black bird's actions. Little Black, you're so kind. I won't bully you anymore. Every time I tricked you to go out for a walk, I was actually secretly eating good food. Little Black was stunned. Was it too late to regret? Such a heartless master. If it died, it died. So be it. After Little Black was released, the dark clouds immediately realized that this was another scourge. Several purple lightning bolts struck toward Little Black. After swallowing a few bolts, the little black bird could not take it anymore. After all, it was still a young bird. To be able to swallow a few bolts of lightning was already extremely heaven-defying. Little Black's feathers began to fall off quickly. If they fell off, it would not be able to resist the lightning at all. The rolling pin in the storage ring shouted anxiously, Master, let me out. I might be able to help you block it after I transform. Nonsense, after you transform, you're just a mortal weapon. These purple loaches can split you into pieces in an instant. Wait patiently. I won't die so easily. Yun Chujio said as she put Little Black into her spirit beast pouch. Master, why did you put me back? Let me out. Why would I let you out? To make you become a bald chicken? Don't worry, a scourge like me won't die. Although Yun Chujio's tone was light, the skin on her body started to bleed. Yun Chujio felt that her consciousness started to become a little blurry. She could not even feel the pain in her body anymore. She allowed the power of lightning in her body to continuously crash into her meridians. Huh? Why did the heavenly lightning not strike her again? Yun Chujio forced herself to focus. She saw a white figure standing in front of her. Both of his hands were continuously forming seals. Gigolo. Was she hallucinating? Yun Chujio bit her tongue. Her mind became clearer. When she took a closer look, she saw that it really was D-Biming. D-Biming was continuously forming seals to resist the heavenly lightning that struck down on her. Yun Chujio still remembered the last time she was struck by heavenly lightning. D-Biming kept dodging it comically. Was he stupid? He actually took the hit for her. Cough cough. Yun Chujio spat out a mouthful of blood and said weakly, Gigolo, get lost. I can do it myself. D-Biming did not stop forming seals and snorted coldly, how dare you scold me, black thing. I won't forgive you. Your mortal body is still useful. Even the heavenly lightning can't take you away. Even if I'm dead, you can still drain blood from me. They're coming for me. Get lost. Yun Chujio did not know where her strength came from, but she struggled to stand up and ran a few steps to the side. Then, she shouted to the sky, bastards heavenly lightning. I'm here, strike me. If you don't, you're a coward. The heavenly lightning immediately changed its target and struck at Yun Chujio. D-Biming gritted his teeth and rushed over. Black thing, are you courting death? D-Biming blocked Yun Chujio behind him again and kept forming seals to resist the heavenly lightning. An Feng and an Een also rushed over at that time. The three of them protected Yun Chujio in the middle and dispersed most of the heavenly lightning. The power of the heavenly lightning was not something a human could resist. An Een and an Feng were soon knocked out. Fortunately, the target of the heavenly lightning was clear. Seeing that the two of them had fainted, it did not bother with them anymore. D-Biming's white clothes had been torn into wisps, and his hair had turned into charcoal. His hands were moving slower and slower, and blood began oozing out from his eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. D-Biming. Stop. I don't need you to care about me. Get lost. Yun Chujio shouted at the top of her lungs as blood and tears flowed from her eyes. Chapter 258, Even the heavens are not allowed to touch my person, cough cough. Black thing, shut up. Even the heavens are not allowed to touch my person. D-Biming spat out a mouthful of blood, and then increased the speed of his seal formation. The dark clouds in the sky was also furious. Where did this idiot come from? He actually dares to help Yun Chujio fight against us. He's really courting death. Kill him. Although D-Biming's spiritual power was superb, his spiritual power was suppressed in the Qingxian continent. Hence, he was already at the end of his rope at that moment. He was completely relying on his will to hold on. After another round of lightning strikes, D-Biming spat out another mouthful of blood. His body started to shake, but his hands were still forming seals, protecting Yun Chujio behind the barrier. Yun Chujio jumped forward and her palm landed on the back of D-Biming's neck. D-Biming was solely focused on holding off the heavenly lightning when Yun Chujio hit him. His body went limp, and he fell to the ground. Yun Chujio was a bloody person as her body was covered in blood. She moved forward with difficulty, then straightened her body and laughed at the sky. Strike me. You can continue to strike me. I'm here. Come strike me. When the heavenly thunder heard Yun Chujia's clamor, it immediately struck at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was initially standing, but soon sat on the ground before falling over. Even so, Yun Chujio continued to provoke the heavenly thunder. You useless little loaches. So many bolts of lightning still can't kill me. You're really useless. Are you all old, weak, sick, and disabled? What a bunch of weaklings. If you have the ability, then just keep attacking me. Let's see who will have the last laugh. You weaklings. The reason why Yun Chujio was so arrogant was to attract all the heavenly lightning to her side. No matter what, she could not let the gigolo die because of her. The blood on Yun Chujio's body dyed the ground red. Yun Chujio felt that her life force was gradually dissipating. Was she really going to die this time? Yun Chujio's consciousness began to slip. Scenes from the past flashed in her mind. Her grandfather, who loved her deeply, her brother and sister who valued their family, and her gigolo who was hard-mouthed but soft-hearted. Seeing that, the dark clouds in the sky could not help but become even more arrogant. Bolts of lightning struck down one after another. You heaven-defying scourge. You're dead for sure this time. Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly shone brightly. No, she could not die. She had not fulfilled her promise to protect the Yun family. She had not found her missing foster parents. She had not even asked her gigolo to kneel down and sing for her. Regardless of whether it was thunder or land mines, Yun Chujio would never yield. Yun Chujio suddenly sat up and began to meditate with her legs crossed. Since the thunder root spirit in her body wanted to push her to her death, then she would refine all of it. Let's see whether you'll kill me or I'll absorb you. Yun Chujio sealed all her 5 senses and completely immersed her consciousness in her meridians, constantly refining the violent thunder root spirit power in her body. The sky gradually darkened, but the thunder still had not ended. The rumbling sound was like heavy hammers hitting the hearts of Master Xianyuan and the others. It has been nearly 6 hours. The heavenly lightning hasn't ended yet. Does this mean that Yun Chujio is still alive? Elder Chi's voice trembled slightly. It must be so. Otherwise, the heavenly lightning would have dispersed long ago. Yun Chujio actually withstood the lightning strikes for 6 hours with the strength of a mortal. This is simply unbelievable. Elder Duanmu, logically speaking, shouldn't this heavenly tribulation gradually strengthen along with Yun Chujio's cultivation? Why is this heavenly tribulation so overbearing when Yun Chujio has just started cultivating? Master Xianyuan asked in puzzlement. This. I have no way of knowing. However, if she can endure it, her future is bound to be limitless. She'll definitely become a prodigy of Qingxian continent. Elder Duanmu said in a deep voice. Chapter 259, was getting livelier. Another 4 hours had passed, and the lightning strikes were still ongoing. Master Xianyuan and the others could not sit still and kept looking toward the back mountains of Middle Peak. It's been 10 hours. Even a mountain would be flattened by the lightning strikes. Besides, Yun Chujio is just a mortal. Could it be that we've made a mistake and that these heavenly lightning bolts aren't actually going for her? Elder Shao said with a frown. There wouldn't be such a large-scale purple heavenly lightning storm other than to wipe out the heavenly root spirit. Even a mighty figure who's about to ascend can only withstand 9 heavenly lightning bolts. Even if a unique legendary practitioner was born, there would only be a few heavenly lightning bolts at most. Elder Duanmu said with certainty. But how did Yun Chujio withstand so many heavenly lightning bolts? This is too unbelievable, an elder asked in puzzlement. I'm also very curious. If this little girl really can endure it, I'll definitely ask her face to face. She has always been eccentric, so maybe she has some tricks up her sleeve. Elder Chu said while stroking his beard. Let's hope that she can endure it. Even 10 hours of heavenly lightning can't even kill her. Such tenacious willpower is rarely seen in this world. She'll definitely have extraordinary achievements in the future. Yeah, let's not talk about anything else. Her heavenly root spirit is set in stone. When the time comes, she will amaze the entire Qingxian continent. She might even become the youngest ascendant in the Qingxian continent. Just as Master Xianyuan and the others were discussing, Yun Chujia's location had already been hacked into a huge deep pit. In the center of the pit was Yun Chujio, who was meditating with her legs crossed. Not far away from her was the unconscious Di Biming. Yun Chujia's body was undergoing a huge transformation. The tyrannical lightning spirit force in Yun Chujia's body was forcefully smoothed out by her divine sense and continuously flowed into her dantian. Another leaf grew out of the strange grass and it was devouring the lightning energy that Yun Chujio smoothed out. Yun Chujia's meridians had been expanded to twice their original thickness, and they were getting stronger and stronger. Even if the lightning continued to pour in, they would not break. Finally, most of the lightning that Yun Chujio had accumulated in her body had been devoured by the strange grass. Yun Chujio suddenly opened her eyes. If someone saw Yun Chujia's eyes then, they would definitely be shocked. This was because Yun Chujia's eyes were filled with purple lightning. After a moment, Yun Chujia's eyes returned to normal. She stood up, looked up at the sky, and smiled brightly. Little Loach, I survived. If you have any other abilities, just come at me. I still have to thank you. If you didn't rush to your death, how could I cultivate so quickly? Come on. Continue to strike me. Come on. Don't strike me one by one. You guys are still gathered together. I'll take care of you together. If you don't strike me, then you admit that you're just shameless bastards. The dark clouds in the sky was dumbfounded. What was going on? Was this scourge not about to be struck to death a couple moments ago? Why was she still alive and kicking? Strike. Strike. Strike her to death. Streaks of purple heavenly lightning struck toward Yun Chujio once again. Not only was Yun Chujio not struck to death, she was even giggling. Good strike, good strike, good strike. I'm laughing out loud. You're thinking that my cultivation speed is a little slow, so you want to lend me a hand, right? You guys are really good at helping others. The dark clouds in the sky were getting increasingly disheartened as they struck her. The more they struck, the more hopeless they felt. Oh heavens, oh earth. Who can tell me why is this scourge getting livelier? The dark clouds was finally so angry that it rained heavily before drifting away with a look of despair. When Yun Chujio saw that the dark clouds had finally drifted away, she let out a long sigh. Then, she turned her head to look at Di Biming beside her. Then, her nose started to bleed. Chapter 260, Ugh, how dizzying! Di Biming's clothes were all turned into rags by the lightning. Yun Chujio, the small, perverted wolf, immediately had a nosebleed when she saw that. Yun Chujio was really big-hearted. Even after going through such a monumental transformation, she was still lustful enough to have the intention to take advantage of Di Biming. She stretched out her perverted claws and wanted to pull away the rags that were in her way. At that moment, Di Biming opened his eyes, and the poor Supreme Emperor's nose starting bleeding. Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming had woken up, so she sheepishly retracted her claws and said, Prince Charming, you're awake. I was just about to help you up. Di Biming's face turned red, and he quickly closed his eyes and said, Why don't you have your clothes on? You're akin to a black bean sprout, and you're actually trying to seduce me? Yun Chujio was stunned. Then, she looked down and was doubly stunned. She was worse than a gigolo. Yun Chujio quickly took out a set of clothes from her storage ring and put them on hurriedly. When she turned around, she saw Di Biming trying to put his clothes on with his mouth and teeth because his hands and feet were stiff. They were not cooperating at all. When he saw Yun Chujio looking at him, he became even more anxious. In the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Biming did not have Yun Chujia's weirdly extraordinary body. Previously, he had completely exhausted his spiritual power and suffered serious internal injuries. It was good enough that he could preserve his life. How could he be as lively as Yun Chujio? Biming took out a porcelain bottle from his storage ring. Yun Chujio helped to pour out a few pills and stuffed them into Biming's mouth. Biming swallowed the pills. Although he no longer spat out blood, his hands and feet still were not responding. Yun Chujio saw the situation and immediately smiled with ill intentions. She began to admire the handsome man openly. Biming's head had been zapped bald by the heavenly lightning. However, not only was it not ugly, but it also added a mysterious aura. Looking at it made Yun Chujia's claws itch. Biming's face turned red. Black thing. Turn around for me. Yun Chujio pouted. Although she turned her body around, she angled her head back and stared at Biming lecherously. Turn your head around too. Biming was so angry that he gritted his teeth. The black thing was really shameless. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders and said lightly, Prince Charming, don't blame me for not reminding you. In a while, Master Xianyuan and the others will come. Do you want those old men to admire your strong body? Biming's face stiffened and he gritted his teeth, Black thing, come and help me put on my clothes. Yun Chujio turned around and hugged her shoulders. She shook her legs and said, I'll reluctantly help you put on your clothes. However, don't you think we should talk about the cost? As the saying goes, brothers always settle their debts. This is one thing, so you can't let me work for free, right? Biming was so angry that he almost spat out another mouthful of blood. He gritted his teeth and said, How much do you want? You know my price. It's 2,000 spirit stones. I think your clothes are quite complicated. I'll give you a set price of 10,000 spirit stones. How about it? Isn't it expensive? Yun Chujio said with a smile. Deal. Biming was so angry that the veins on his forehead popped up. Black thing, just you wait, I won't forgive you. Yun Chujio quickly helped Biming put it on. Of course, during the process of putting it on, she could not help but take advantage of him and said a few flirtatious words. The miserable lord fainted once again. Yes, he fainted from anger. Chapter 261, Chopping Board. Yun Chujio was stunned. The gigolo was so easily abashed. I didn't say anything controversial. What a shy and innocent young man. Yun Chujio looked up. She still did not know how to ride a sword, so how was she going to fly up? She could only wait for Master Xianyuan and the others to come and save her. If they asked the pretty boy and the others about their identities, how was she going to explain it? The rolling pin said from inside the storage ring, Master, I'll take you guys out of this hole. Yun Chujio took out the rolling pin doubtfully. Then, she asked with a confused look, how are you going to do that? You want me to carry the gigolo and stand on you with 1 feet? The rolling pin quickly became longer and wider. Then, it said proudly, Master, after your spiritual power increased, I advanced too. I can now become big. The corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. Well, it was an upgrade. The rolling pin had become a large chopping board. Yun Chujio did not have the time to complain. She carried Biming on her shoulder and then stood on the chopping board. The rolling pin swayed and flew up. Soon, it flew to the top of the deep pit. When Master Xianyuan and the others arrived and saw the scene below, Yun Chujio had a bald head and a bald man on her shoulder. She stood on a chopping board and emerged from the ground. Yun Chujio bared her white teeth at everyone. Master Xianyuan, this is a natural disaster, not a man-made disaster. You won't make me pay for it, right? The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. They never thought that Yun Chujia's first sentence would be this. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. Of course I won't make you compensate me. Who are you carrying on your shoulders? This? This is my savior. I don't know him either. You can ask him when he wakes up later. Yun Chujio said with a confused look. She wondered to herself where Anfeng and Anin were. When everyone heard this, they immediately made up their minds. No wonder Yun Chujio could endure the heavenly lightning for 10 hours. It turned out that she had the help of an expert. Elder Chu looked curiously at the chopping board under Yun Chujio's feet. Little girl. What is this? Yun Chujio was amused. Remember the rolling pin that my master gave me? Once my spiritual power leveled up, it becomes more capable too. Yun Chujio yawned. Sect master, I'm hungry and tired now. Can we talk about this tomorrow? Besides, I have an injured person here. Master Xianyuan nodded. Leave him to me. I'll bring him back for treatment. Yun Chujio shook her head. Before this benefactor fainted, he told me to guard him at all times. He saved my life, so I naturally can't go against his will. Just give me a couple bottles of good medicinal pills to treat his internal injuries. The corners of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched slightly. He took out a porcelain bottle from his storage ring. This is a 6th grade muscle revitalization pill. It has a miraculous effect on internal injuries. Take it. Yun Chujio took the porcelain bottle and put it in her pocket. Then, she carried Di Biming and flew away on the chopping board. Everyone looked at Yun Chujio's back with a dumbfounded expression. They were all riding swords, all right. This Yun Chujio was riding a chopping board. Everyone naturally gossiped for a while. However, after the person in question left, everyone started leaving too. They were planning to ask about Yun Chujio's situation in detail the next day. Yun Chujio had just carried Di Biming to the dormitory when Anfeng and Anin appeared from the shadows. When Yun Chujio saw their appearances, she almost fell off the chopping board. Well, those two were also bald. Chapter 262, The deity is asleep. Anfeng and Anin were only knocked out by the lightning, so they did not suffer any serious injuries. Therefore, when they realized that someone was coming, they quickly stuck a concealment talisman on them and retreated. Fortunately, Master Xianyuan and the others only paid attention to Yun Chujio, so they did not notice them. Anfeng, Anin, your new hairstyle is quite cool. Yun Chujio jumped down from the chopping board and said with a smile. The corner of Anfeng's eyes twitched. Miss Chio, is our revered sir all right? Don't worry. It's not a big problem. He only suffered some internal injuries. His limbs are stiff and he vomited a few mouthfuls of blood. Yun Chujio carried Di Biming and walked into the house with a valiant spirit. Anfeng and Anin looked at each other. It was that bad and she thinks there's no big problem. Miss Chio, you really have a heart of stone. Our revered lord gave up his life for you, and you're treating our revered lord like this. Yun Chujio carried Di Biming into the house and placed him on the bed. She pursed her lips and said, Prince Charming, how long do you want to pretend? I know that you've long woken up. Di Biming opened his eyes and coughed dryly. He said weakly, Nonsense, I have only just woken up. Yun Chujio saw that his injuries were not light, so she did not hold him to it. Do you still need to eat any other pills? Take them out and I'll feed them to you. Yun Chujio lit the candle as she spoke. Then, she turned around and looked at Di Biming. Di Biming looked at Yun Chujio in a daze. Previously, at the bottom of the pit, the light was dim, so he did not pay much attention to it. After the black thing was struck, she had turned much fairer. Even if she did not have any hair, it did not change her delicate facial features. A pair of big, watery eyes were looking at him. She pouted her pink lips and looked at him in confusion. A certain someone's face turned red. He said awkwardly, "No need. I want dye." Yun Chujio mumbled in confusion, "It's not hot in this room. Why is your face so red? What nonsense are you spouting? Quickly turn off the lights and go to sleep." Di Biming gritted his teeth and shouted. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This damn gigolo. Her impression of him was much better, but he was acting up again. He really deserved to be beaten up. "Now that you can't move your hands and feet, let's see how I can deal with you. Prince Charming, you have to wash up before you go to sleep. We were caught in the rain just now, so it would be nasty if we didn't wash up. Wait a minute. I'll go get hot water. In a while, I'll personally help you wash up." Yun Chujio emphasized the last two words. Poor Lord. The red tide that had faded from his face surged up once again. A beautiful scene appeared in his mind once again, and he could only roar angrily, "I want bathe. I'm sleepy. I'm going to bed." After Di Biming finished speaking, he lied to himself and closed his eyes. Yun Chujio smiled evilly and hopped out to get some hot water. Not long after, Yun Chujio came back. She took out a large wooden bucket from her storage ring. The bucket was already filled with warm water. "Prince Charming. Prince Charming. Are you asleep?" Yun Chujio moved closer to the bed and called out a few times. Di Biming closed his eyes and ignored her. "Tisk, looks like he's really asleep. Guess I'll just shower myself." Yun Chujio smiled and started to take off her clothes. Then, she stepped into the bathtub. "Scrub-dub-dub. Please take mine and bring it back to me. If you eat mine, spit it out for me." Yun Chujio happily hummed a little song while playing with the water. The sad Supreme Emperor laid on the bed. His face turned even redder when he heard the sound of Yun Chujio in the water. Chapter 263, Could it be a sequela of the lightning strikes? Di Biming could not help but spit at himself. What was there to think about when she was just an unattractive and uninteresting black bean sprout? Even if he wanted to, he should think about what the black thing would look like when she grew up. Di Biming inexplicably recalled that Yun Chujio once said suffocate you to death while talking about her chest, and immediately blood flowed out from his nose. Yun Chujio had been staring at Di Biming, and when she saw this situation, she could not help but giggle. "Prince Charming, is that the aftermath of the lightning strike? Why is your nose bleeding all the time? Are you going to bleed to death?" Di Biming could no longer pretend to sleep, and he said angrily, "I've been taking in too much supplements recently, that's why my nose is bleeding." "What's the big deal?" Yun Chujio pouted. "Humph. No wonder you haven't been here recently. So you've been secretly eating some good stuff." After Yun Chujio said that, she felt that the sentence sounded wrong. She seemed to be a little jealous, so she quickly added, "Actually, it's okay if you don't come. I've met a fool recently whom I've cheated." Di Biming snorted. "Must be that idiot Shui Wuji. You're asking a tiger for its skin. Stay away from him from now on." "Huh? How did you know?" Yun Chujio asked curiously. "I naturally have a way to find out. Aren't you afraid that he'll kill you? Shui Wuji is famous for being temperamental and ruthless. You actually dared to trick him. Once he finds out, he wouldn't spare you." Di Biming easily avoided Yun Chujio's question. Yun Chujio pouted and said, "I have no choice. That black chicken's spiritual power is very high. I can run away from the monk, but I can't run away from the temple. Naturally, I have to think of a way to fool him. Oh, by the way, what's the relationship between the two of you? Black chicken?" Di Biming was stunned at first and then laughed out loud. He overexerted and accidentally exacerbated his internal injuries, coughing for a long time before he recovered. Cough cough. "Good. Black thing, that nickname is good. That idiot matches the name Black Chicken perfectly. Prince Charming, then are the two of you friends or enemies? Don't tell me you're good friends who are in a love-hate relationship. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed with a gossipy light as she asked curiously. Of course we're enemies. That idiot keeps trying to defeat me, it's simply a fool's dream. Oh right, what does good friend mean? Yun Chujio did not dare to tell the truth, so she said vaguely, good friend just means good friend. Oh no, the water is all gone. I have to hurry out and put on my clothes. Yun Chujio came out of the bathtub nonchalantly, wiped herself with a towel, and then began to slowly put on her clothes. This girl thought that since the gigolo's neck could not move, there was nothing to be afraid of. Who would have thought that after Di Biming took the pill, his neck could rotate slightly? Di Biming subconsciously turned his neck and, yes, dyed the pillow with blood again. Di Biming wanted to turn his head away, but his neck could not move at this time. Coincidentally, when Yun Chujio looked up, she saw Di Biming staring at her with a bloody nose. Yun Chujio was also stunned. Although she was quite thick-skinned, she could still be embarrassed. Yun Chujia's face was flushed red. She put on her clothes and pretended to be calm. Prince Charming, if you want to see, just say it. Why did you have to sneak a peek? Di Biming felt that that day was the saddest day in his life. His face turned red and then white. He gritted his teeth and said, why would I sneak a peek at you? Humph. I was just looking at. Well, looking at the bathtub. Your bathtub is quite special. Chapter 264, Just You Wait. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and smiled evilly. Prince Charming, since you like this bathtub so much, it'll help you get a closer look at it. Di Biming suddenly had a bad feeling. Yun Chujio picked up Di Biming and threw him into the bathtub. Cough. Cough. Black thing. Why you're rebelling. This isn't right. Just you wait. I won't forgive you. Di Biming choked on water and gritted his teeth in anger. Di Biming was really angry, but at that moment, he had no other way to express it other than using words. Yun Chujio leaned on the side of the bathtub and said with a smile, Prince Charming, you've misunderstood me. You were drenched in the rain earlier, so it's good to soak in the bath to get rid of the cold. Besides, don't you have a mysophobia? Your body is covered in blood and dirt. That must be uncomfortable. Di Biming choked. What the black thing said made sense. If he did not wash up, it would indeed be uncomfortable. However, he was not stupid. He knew that Yun Chujio was deliberately messing with him. He gritted his teeth. Forget it. He may be controlled by someone then, but he would endure it first. In the future, when he has recovered, he would look for this black thing to settle scores. Yun Chujio was so smart. Even if she used her feet to think, she could guess what Di Biming was thinking. However, as the saying goes, drink till you're drunk. Since Di Biming could not do anything to her then, she naturally had to make good use of the rare opportunity to vent her anger. Humph. The gigolo had scared her a lot in the past. Finally, it was her time to breathe a sigh of relief for the great days to come. It was not easy. She was very proud in her heart, and her face could not help but show a little bit of pride. Seeing this, Di Biming became more and more frustrated and stopped talking. She rolled her eyes and stared at Di Biming's new hairdo. She said with a smile, My Prince Charming, your new hairdo is very shiny. There's no need to light candles in this room anymore. With us two bald heads, there will be enough light. Tisk, tsk. My Prince Charming, I have to say that you're really good looking. You're so good looking even without your hair. My Prince Charming, why don't you keep it like that in the future? It'll save you a lot of trouble and looks good on you. When Di Biming heard Yun Chujio praising him so much, he could not help but feel a little smug in his heart. His anger had dissipated a little. He thought to himself to forget it. Seeing that the black thing spoke well, he reluctantly forgave her for throwing him into the bathtub. Just as he was thinking about it, he heard Yun Chujio say, "Oh man, the water in this bathtub is cold. Let me help you change it." Yun Chujio took out a new bathtub as she spoke. Then, she picked up a certain someone and threw him into the new bathtub. The certain someone could not help but choke on a few mouthfuls of water. He immediately threw his previous thoughts to the back of his mind. This black thing really deserved to be taught a lesson. After changing the water a few times, Yun Chujio finally showed mercy and pulled Di Biming out of the bathtub. She still had some integrity. She did not help Di Biming change his clothes. Instead, she used her spiritual power to help him dry his clothes. Of course, this fellow was actually afraid of provoking Di Biming. It would be bad if he vomited blood again. Even so, he was still a little uncomfortable as his ears were always red. Black Thing Jiao was also a little uncomfortable. When she was drying her clothes, she started to brag about how she had tricked Xue Wuji. Although Di Biming did not want to listen to that Xue Wuji nonsense, he cooperated and chatted with Yun Chujio in order to divert his attention. Chapter 265, My life will be different from now on. Yun Chujio tidied up the bed before placing Di Biming on the outer side of the bed. She straightened out the bed and climbed to the inner corner. Di Biming saw that she was mumbling something and frowned. "Black Thing, what are you talking about? Are you secretly scolding me?" Yun Chujio pouted and thought to herself, so what if I'm scolding you? You're now a paper tiger. You can't do anything to me. However, when she thought of what happened during the day, she turned around and looked at Di Biming with bright eyes. "Prince Charming, how can I do such an ungrateful thing? Oh right, why did you decide to save me?" Di Biming raised his eyebrows. "I've mentioned before that your blood is useful to me. Hasn't it been a year? Your illness should have been cleared, right? I don't think you need my blood anymore." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Di Biming snorted awkwardly. "Although the poison has been cleared, your blood is very beneficial to me. Naturally, I can't bear to let such a precious spiritual herb like you die." "Oh, so that's how it is. I thought you liked me. Thank goodness. If you really liked me, I'd still." Yun Chujio did not complete her sentence. Instead, she laid back on the bed disappointedly and did not speak anymore. When Di Biming saw that Yun Chujio did not speak anymore, he felt extremely uncomfortable. What did the black thing want to say next? In the end, Di Biming could not help but cough dryly and said, "You'd still, what?" Yun Chujio said gloomily, "I'm sleeping." Di Biming choked and snorted coldly. "If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Stop daydreaming. Why would I like you?" "Humph." Yun Chujio did not say anything. She cursed in her heart. What an annoying gigolo. If you don't like me, then don't. What's the big deal? If it wasn't for the fact that you worked so hard to save me, I wouldn't have bothered to talk to you. A gigolo like you begging me on your knees. Actually, I can still consider it." Seeing that Yun Chujio did not speak, Di Biming felt a little regretful in his heart. However, since he had already said it, he naturally did not have the reason to take it back. He added awkwardly, "Actually, you've become a lot fairer now." Ever since Yun Chujio came back, she had not looked at herself in the mirror. When she heard Di Biming say that, she immediately climbed down from the bed, lit a candle, and ran in front of the mirror to take a look. "Oh my, who is this little beauty in the mirror? Mirror, mirror, quickly tell me. Who is the most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect?" "Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio is the most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect." Yun Chujio pinched her throat and answered herself. She usually never asked others for help when she could do things on her own. Therefore, she did not feel embarrassed at all even when she was playing two roles. The corner of Di Biming's eyes twitched slightly. Was the black thing going crazy? Yun Chujio wiggled in front of the mirror and praised herself a bunch before returning to the bed. Prince Charming, let me tell you. It's useless even if you regret saying that you like me now. The current me is different from the past. I was almost mesmerized by my own beauty. In the future, those who pursue me will probably line up from Spirit Radiance sect all the way to Yi City. I, Yun Chujio, now have both beauty and spiritual power. La la la, my life will be different from now on. Yun Chujio said proudly. Chapter 266, Who are you trying to scare, humph? You're just slightly better and suddenly you become most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect. How shameless. I've never seen someone as thick-skinned as you. Di Biming's heart ached when he thought of other men approaching Yun Chujio. So what if I'm thick-skinned? What does it have to do with you? From now on, I'll be the most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect. Humph. You. Di Biming was so angry that he almost fainted. He said angrily, Black thing, in the future, I'll kill all the men who approaches you. I'll see who dares to come near you. Humph. Then I'll go and look for Brother Wuji. Brother Wuji isn't afraid of you. Brother Wuji was quite generous with me, and he's better looking than you. Yun Chujio said proudly. Good. I knew that the relationship between you and that red-robed fool was not that simple. Black thing, it's best if you kill me now. Otherwise, when I'm better, I'll definitely kill you and that red-robed fool with my own hands. Di Biming's eyes were red and he was obviously extremely angry. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders. TSK, who are you trying to scare? If you have the ability, then hurry up and get better. Otherwise, when you're done, Brother Wuji and I will have long been together. When Di Biming thought of Xue Wuji hugging Yun Chujio, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The black thing is mine. Anyone who dares to snatch her from me will die. If Xue Wuji was in front of him right now, he would probably want to slap him to death to vent his anger. When Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming was so angry that his facial features were almost deformed, she felt a trace of guilt in her heart. The gigolo was a wounded man, and he was injured because he saved her. Was it not a little too much for her to say that? Just as Yun Chujio was about to say something to ease the tension, Di Biming gritted his teeth and said, Black thing, do you think that I'm angry because I care about you? In fact, I just don't like my things being touched by others. There are many women who like this venerable self, and there are countless women who are more beautiful than you. I've not visited in such a long time because I went back to pick myself a concubine. The women in Tianyuan continent are much more outstanding than you. They're both beautiful and virtuous. When they heard that I was going to pick my concubines, all of them cried and begged me. Di Biming's words stopped abruptly because he was kicked off the bed by Yun Chujio. Although a certain supreme being did not fall or got hurt, he was kicked off the bed by someone. That really hurt his self-esteem. However, there was nothing he could do. One could imagine the anger and grievance in his heart. Yun Chujio angrily spread a few quilts on the ground and then put Di Biming on it. Shut up. Otherwise, I'll sew your mouth shut with a needle and thread. Black thing, how dare you? Di Biming hated the fact that there was nothing he could do. Otherwise, he would definitely strangle that black thing to death. Humph. I have to say it. Some of those women were fat and some were skinny. They come in all sizes. But one thing's for sure, they are much stronger than your black bean sprout, HNNGG. HNGGG, Di Biming could not continue because in a moment of desperation, Yun Chujio had used her mouth to block Di Biming's mouth. Both of them were stunned. Yun Chujio felt so stupid. Di Baiming seemed to have opened the door to a new world. For a moment, the temperature in the room seemed to have risen by a few degrees. After a while, Yun Chujio returned to her bed dejectedly and covered her head with the blanket. Damn, that was so embarrassing. I actually forced myself to kiss a gigolo. Chapter 267, I am thick-skinned. Di Baiming, who was on the ground, was also stunned. It was a really strange feeling. For a moment, the room was quiet. Neither of them spoke. Cough. Cough. Don't think too much. I just wanted to stop you from talking. Yun Chujio stuck her head out from under the blanket and said in a slightly panicked manner. Di Baiming snorted coldly. Humph. I was just thirsty. After such a long time, you didn't even feed me a mouthful of water. How clumsy. Didn't you drink a few mouthfuls of bath water just now? Yun Chujio thought of Di Baiming's miserable appearance and giggled happily. Di Baiming's face stiffened and he gritted his teeth. Go ahead and be cocky now, black thing. When I recover, we'll see how I'll deal with you. Yun Chujio made a face. We have to live in the moment and enjoy it while it lasts. Anyway, you can't do anything to me now. I'm warning you, you better behave yourself, or ill. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up when she said this. This idea was not bad. If the gigolo left in the future and she ran out of money, she might be able to make a small fortune by selling her paintings. The more Yun Chujio thought about it, the more she felt that the idea was pretty good. She made up her mind then. Di Baiming thought that Yun Chujio was just saying it and did not take it to heart. The next morning, Yun Chujio stretched her body, got off the bed, and jumped to Di Baiming's side. She said with a smile, Good morning, Prince Charming. Di Baiming opened his eyes weakly and did not speak. Yun Chujio was stunned. She reached out and touched Di Baiming's forehead. It was boiling hot. Only then did Yun Chujio realize that Di Baiming was lying on the ground pitifully last night. He did not even have a blanket on him. Yun Chujio felt a little guilty. It seemed that she had gone too far to treat the wounded like this. Prince Charming, I'm so sorry. Come on, just sweat it out. Yun Chujio carried Di Baiming to the bed and then covered Di Baiming with layers of blanket. Di Baiming felt that he would be tortured to death by Yun Chujio sooner or later. Are you covering me with quilt or trying to bury me alive? Di Baiming exerted all his strength and shouted, Black thing. Cough cough. Do you want to suffocate me to death? Yun Chujio realized that she was in such a hurry that she had covered Di Baiming's head as well. She quickly saved Di Baiming's head from the blankets. I'm sorry. I don't have any experience, okay? Once you get sick a few more times in the future, then I'll have more experience. Yun Chujio said with a dry smile. Di Baiming felt his vision go black. He gritted his teeth and said, Are you cursing me to get sick frequently in the future? Yun Chujio smiled widely and used her hand to support Di Baiming's chin. Prince Charming, you'd better not provoke me this time. Di Baiming's face turned red. Stop. You have no sense of shame. You're shameless. Yun Chujio smiled lecherously. I am thick-skinned, and I am shameless. What can you do about it? Yun Chujio bent down and was about to walk over. Thump. 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 Di Baiming's heart started beating faster. Chapter 268, The seeds of love seemed to have sprouted. Di Baiming waited for a long time, but Yun Chujio's lips did not fall. He opened his eyes and saw Yun Chujio hugging her shoulders and looking at him with a wicked smile. Prince Charming, what's with your squinted eyes? Do you think it's a pity that I didn't kiss you? Di Baiming was so angry that he was seeing stars. His face flushed red before turning pale. Black thing, you. You, am thick-skinned and I don't know shame. Am shameless, am I not? Am a female hoodlum and a little pervert. Am warning you. You better listen to me, or else. Humph, I'll do anything. Yun Chujo thought to herself that since she had already touched and kissed him, why should she feel wronged? Gigolo, from now on, I'll be the master. The pitiful lord had never seen such a thick-skinned girl. It was as though his worldview had been shifted. Besides being angry, he also felt that the black thing was really baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was quite interesting. The pitiful emperor felt that he had most likely been struck dumb by lightning. Although Yun Chujia's words were fierce, she still used warm water to gently wipe Di Baiming's face. She also fiercely forced Di Baiming to get a sumptuous breakfast from his storage ring and fed it to him. Di Baiming was already severely injured. With the addition of the cold, he finally fell into a deep sleep after all that. Yun Chujo sat by the bed and looked at Di Baiming's handsome face. She was a little lost in thought. Yun Chujo recalled what happened the day before. When she was at her most helpless and desperate moment, the gigolo appeared as a protector. He would willingly be struck to death to protect her. Yun Chujo admitted that she was moved. Although she had never been in a relationship and did not know what love was, at that moment, Yun Chujo felt that the seed of love seemed to have sprouted. That was why she asked Di Baiming half-truthfully why he would save her. That was why when she heard Di Baiming say that, she, who had always been fearless, felt a little disappointed. That was why she deliberately mentioned the red-robed pervert to anger Di Baiming. That was why after their fight, her lips and tongue became entangled with Di Baiming's. Yun Chujo was not a pretentious person. Since that's the case, then she should let nature take its course. After all, she was still young. If the gigolo had the patience to wait for her to grow up, she would give him a chance. At least. Cough. Cough. This gigolo's figure was quite attractive. After Yun Chujo figured out her thoughts, she secretly kissed Di Baiming's face. TSK, how could this gigolo's skin be so nice? However, why was it still so hot? It was not burnt, was it? Yun Chujo thought for a moment and took out a dagger. She cut her finger and dripped the blood into Di Baiming's mouth. After a while, Di Baiming's face gradually returned to normal and his forehead was not hot anymore. Yun Chujo could not help but laugh at herself. Her blood really had a miraculous effect on the gigolo. Yun Chujo took out a scarf and wrapped it around her head, leaving two tails of excess cloth behind her head as she hopped out of the house. Miss Jo, how is our honored lord? An Fong and An Een saw Yun Chujo coming out and quickly went up to her. Yun Chujo immediately smiled and bent her back when she saw the two of them. The two of them each took a piece of cloth and wrapped it around their heads. Just like Yun Chujo, they also left two small tails behind them. Ha! Do you two have to follow me like this? Oh my god, it's so funny. Yun Chujo was so happy that she almost rolled on the floor laughing. An Fong and An Een's eyes twitched violently. Miss Jo, how did we become like this? It was because we saved you. How could you laugh at us so shamelessly? You're too shameless. Chapter 269, As expected of the man that I, Yun Chujo, have taken a fancy to. Yun Chujo finally stopped laughing and said, His Highness was too tired yesterday. He's catching up on his sleep now. I'm going out for a while. You guys take good care of the house. Yun Chujo did not want An Fong and An Een to know that her carelessness had caused Di Baiming to catch a cold. However, she did not know that her words had caused An Fong to misunderstand. After Yun Chujo left, An Fong had a gossipy look on his face. Didn't our esteemed lord lose control of hands and feet yesterday? Why is he so tired? An Een ignored him, thinking that sooner or later, this annoying fellow would be taught a lesson by their esteemed lord. Yun Chujio, who was jumping toward the meeting hall, sneezed violently. She thought whether it could be that the gigolo had woken up and was talking about her. They had only been apart for a short while, and he was already thinking about her. She was so charming. Yun Chujio shamelessly fantasized for a while before she finally hopped into the meeting hall. In the meeting hall, Master Xianyuan and the others were like the Amma rocks. 1. They were stretching their necks to look outside when they finally saw Yun Chujio hopping over. When everyone saw Yun Chujio's appearance, they were also stunned. Last night, the wind was high and the sky was dark. In addition, Yun Chujio's face was dirty, so they did not pay too much attention to her. Now that they saw her, they were all extremely surprised. As expected, her fair skin covered her 100 other flaws. Although the little girl's skin had only turned fairer, she felt that her entire person had become much more beautiful. Little girl, quickly tell me. How did you escape those heavenly punishments yesterday? Elder Chu went to Yun Chujio and asked curiously. Heavenly punishments? Yun Chujio was not aware of the heavenly root spirit theory. In the principle of saying less and making fewer mistakes, and not moving if the enemy did not move, she tried to speak as little as possible. Oh right. You still don't know about this. Let me tell you then. You have a rare heavenly lightning root spirit. Those purple heavenly lightning bolts were meant to kill you by heavenly tribulation. Elder Chu told her everything. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. That was what it was. No wonder those heavenly purple lightning bolts were always chasing after her. It was the heavenly law that wanted her dead. Regardless of whether it was heavenly law or reality, my life is in my hands, not the heavens. No way you'll take my life. Little girl, tell me quickly. How did you survive the lightning bolts for 10 hours? Elder Chu asked again when he saw Yun Chujio in a daze. Yun Chujio giggled. Of course, I had to run quickly so that they couldn't catch up to me. But I was soon knocked out by the lightning bolts. I don't know what happened after that. When I woke up, I saw my savior spit out a mouthful of blood. Then, he instructed me to take care of him. After that, I flew out on the chopping board. Everyone felt that what Yun Chujio said made sense, but they still felt something amiss. Master Xianyuan asked again, and Yun Chujio said the same thing. Master Xianyuan could only ask, has your savior woken up? Can we meet him? The reason why Master Xianyuan was so polite was that first, that person had saved Yun Chujio, and second, that person's spiritual power was very high, so he naturally had to treat him politely. Yun Chujio sighed. He had a high fever last night, and he only fell asleep this morning. Let's wait for him to wake up. My savior suffered such serious injuries in order to save me, and he also caught a cold. I really feel bad about this. I wonder if any of you have anything nourishing in your possession. I'll take it to nourish him. Yun Chujio spoke with sincerity and even shed a few tears. Master Xianyuan and the others naturally would not reject her. They all took out what they had and gave it to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio laughed sinisterly in her heart as she made a small fortune. Gigolo, oh Gigolo, you're indeed the man that I, Yun Chujio, have set my eyes on. You can make money for me just by lying down. Chapter 270, made everyone laugh. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and continued shamelessly, well, Master Xianyuan, there are so many things that I can't possibly carry them in my hands. Please give me another storage ring. The storage bag given by the sect is being used by my fourth brother. Master Xianyuan did not dislike Yun Chujio's insatiable greed. Instead, he asked in surprise, can you release your spiritual power? You're already at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. Yes, I can release my spiritual power. Yun Chujio answered vaguely. She thought to herself, I'm not deliberately hiding it. I'm afraid that telling you I'm at the 8th level of the spirit enhancement realm will scare you. Elder Shao frowned. Yun Chuzhou, are you lying? There's no spiritual power fluctuation on your body. How could you be at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm? Everyone looked at Yun Chuzhou suspiciously. Even if some mighty figures could lower their cultivation level or use some spirit tools to hide their cultivation level, no one had ever been able to completely hide the spiritual energy on their body. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Hearing is fictitious, seeing is believing. Everyone was stunned. What did she mean? Crack. Everyone was shocked. Yun Chuzhou raised her right hand, and a bolt of lightning struck an empty chair. The chair shattered into two. Crack. Yun Chuzhou struck another bolt of lightning, and the table beside her was also split into two. She frowned. After the strike, there was a burning smell. This was not good. If she did anything bad in the future, would everyone not suspect that she was the one who did it? However, she only used 50% of her strength this time. When there was no one around, she would test it again and try to make sure that it did not smell burnt. Yun Chuzhou had a few thoughts in her mind. Then, she realized that the meeting hall was completely silent. Everyone had a dumbfounded look on their faces. Yun Chuzhou laughed dryly, well, I've made a fool of myself. I've only learned how to strike. If I don't do it well, it'll definitely improve next time. Elder Chu jumped up with a roar. Little girl. Good strike. Good strike. Oh my God, this heavenly root spirit is indeed different. It really opened my eyes. The rest of the people also seemed to have woken up from a dream and sighed one after another. They looked at Yun Chuzhou as if they were looking at a peerless treasure. Is this move of mine very powerful? I see that other people's wind blades and fireballs are about equally as powerful. Yun Chuzhou asked weakly, but in her heart, she thought, could it be that I've been exposed? It shouldn't be, I've clearly only used 50% of my strength. Ha! Ha! Our spirit radiance sect is about to produce a peerless genius. Little girl, although the power of your lightning strike is almost the same as those of the same level, this is a lightning strike. Regardless of whether it's a demon beast or a cultivator, how many of them aren't afraid of lightning strikes? Most importantly, all cultivators need to form seals before they can cast spells, and they also need to pause for a moment before they can cast spells a second time. However, as the spiritual power becomes more profound, the duration of forming seals and pausing changes. You just cast your spells 2 times in a row without any pause. Elder Chu was so excited that he was dancing with joy. He had completely forgotten how he called Yun Chuzhou unimportant during the entry test. Yun Chuzhou had an epiphany. It turned out that other people were using rifles and guns, but she was using a machine, a trap, and a gun. It seemed to be quite awesome. When other people were loading bullets, she could take advantage of the situation. Wow, just thinking about it was very satisfying, right? But, why is there no spiritual fluctuation on my body? Yun Chuzhou asked in puzzlement. Although it was good to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger, sometimes it was quite troublesome to hide the truth. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.